りだ。
Hello and welcome. If you have not already guessed, this is an Ultimate Ironman progression series. I went ahead and cut out the early and mid game for you guys so you can jump straight into the end game with me. If you just watch the intro and you're kind of just like, what? Don't worry about that. This whole episode is for getting you caught up with the progress so far, game plan moving forward, things like that. First things first though, I'm going to explain briefly what Ultimate Ironman means for those of you who don't know, if there is anyone who doesn't know anymore. It's probably safe to assume everyone knows what Ironman is. The restriction of no trading in old school RuneScape really brings on a lot of unique challenges. If you were to ask an Ironman why they like that game mode, they would tell you it's more fulfilling because they have to work harder for their goals. Ultimate Ironman just takes that a step further, where before you couldn't trade, now you also can't use the bank. At first that may seem impossible, but I can assure you it's not. If I'm honest, there's definitely times that I'm asking myself the same question. The unique challenges that come with Ultimate Ironman are viewed by many as very tedious. As you progress through the game mode though, the tedious things become much less so. And I can honestly say, I've never felt more fulfilled with old school RuneScape than on my Ultimate Ironman. And I've played every game mode into the late game. This game mode tests your patience, endurance, sometimes even critical thinking. Everything's a puzzle, but the sweet moments are so much sweeter. Before moving on from this topic, I'm just going to get a little bit more specific and give you guys 3 reasons that I've stuck with U.I.M and why I enjoy it so much. The first reason is a unique sense of progression. Now all I really mean by this is that there is this core game loop that exists of you kill monsters or you train your skills so that you can use better methods or kill better monsters to get better gear, to kill even better monsters for even better gear. Ultimate Ironman kind of adds this extra layer to everything in the game because the methods that you would use otherwise probably aren't feasible, so you have to get creative and use different methods that only Ultimate Ironman would ever use. Just to prove a point, have you ever had any reason to build one of these in your POH? I didn't think so. This is a strong mid-game construction training method for U.I.Ms. The second reason I want to address is an encumberment system. Have you ever played another game where if you start holding too much stuff in your inventory or bag or whatever, your character just starts slogging around super slow or sometimes just can't even move? I personally love that mechanic in survival games and whatnot because it gives you this sense of like, you can't just pick up anything that you want. There's a consequence for everything that you carry. The space that you have to hold things is a resource that's limited. U.I.M is really the only thing I can even think of that even comes close to that concept in old school RuneScape. If you have a bank, it's just like an endless lottery of just go back to the bank, throw supplies at something until you get what you want. The extra step of needing to think about what you're carrying really makes the game mode fun for me. The final reason I want to mention is a pretty simple one. I've always been the kind of person that likes to do things differently than most people do them. I suppose you could call me something of a hipster for that. I mean, it is what it is. The fact is that most people are discouraged by the tediousness of U.I.M, and as such, the population of this game mode is much smaller than that of others. But that's not inherently a bad thing. In fact, it kind of draws the community of U.I.M even closer together. It's a common misconception that there's some kind of mental illness associated with U.I.M. While that may be true in some cases, the U.I.Ms I've interacted with in the community are some of the most kind and thoughtful people I've ever met. I guess we have to have some kind of redeeming quality. Alright, I'd say that's enough of me justifying my decisions. Let's go ahead and get to the juice. The progress on the account so far. Most of my pre-99 range experience came from AFKing ammonite crabs. I did some skeletal wyverns, but not a very significant amount of them. For magic, I chose to splash for the majority of my XP, just because it's so AFK, even though it's very slow. I didn't really do any bursting slayer, cause that's tedious to set up for on a U.I.M. Big surprise here, but I got all my melees up through Slayer, getting 97 Slayer in the process, and a bunch of cool gear. I spent quite a bit of time at pest control with the primary goal of prayer XP, while also fletching broad arrows in the process. I got 99 fletching, and then I decided to AFK Abbey Demons with the demonic offering instead. I did that till 95 prayer. I crafted a lot of blood runes while playing other game modes like Leagues and Group Iron. That got me to about 97, at which point Guardians of the Rift came out, and the rest was history. They really knocked it out of the park on that one, didn't they? For thieving, I pickpocketed Arty Knights until 94. I stopped at 94 because with the Arty Hard Diary, you can't fail at Master Farmers anymore. I went all the way to 99 there, still processing the seeds, but I have 94 herbs so far from it. For agility, I did rooftops until 82, at which point I mixed in Sepulchre. Once I got to 92, I got totally spooned, ring on the 4th KC. If you're currently dry for this, all I have to say is, sit. You've probably noticed a trend by now. If there's an AFK way to train a skill, I will choose that. I did use until Redwoods, and then I loved every second of Redwoods all the way to 99. The efficient thing would have been to save some for construction, but that's just not me. Firemaking is actually a meme on my account now. Wintertide was not out when I started this account, so it's never been convenient for me to go there. I've determined to make this my last 99 at this point. Despite the visual you're seeing, I actually did most of my fishing and cooking through minnows, sacred eels, and infernal eels. I only did about 100 temperas, but I just really wanted to make this blender scene. If you guessed Motherlode Mine for mining, you'd be partially right, but it's really tedious for U.I.M, so I stopped at 87, switched to soloing shooting stars instead. I got 300,000 Stardust, which totally came in clutch for me. I'm a little bit salty that Giant's Foundry didn't come out sooner because I did 1,000 Zalcano KC. If I had processed all those materials at Giant's Foundry instead of Blast Furnace, I'd be 99 smithing, but I'm 96. I took a different path than most for crafting. I avoided charters like the plague. Instead, I used those 300,000 Stardust in combination with Zaya Bloodrune crafting, as well as Shades of Morden, super AFK but very slow. It got me to 99 though. I think I did birdhouse runs all the way to 80 hunter. I honestly don't remember, but after 80 I went all the way to 99 at herbivore because it's pretty chill. No pet though. Sad game. Farming just kind of happened. I mean, the only thing I can think of is the 1000 Zora KC, papaya and palm trees from there, but other than that, I mean, I did Hesperia as much as I could. 83 KC for my bucket. Now it's my turn to take a seat. As I mentioned before, Wintertide was not out at the beginning of this account, so I had to do some weird methods to get my construction up. Mahogany homes in combination with Priptonous teak trees kind of changed the entire meta for U.I.Ms, and I'm excited to do that the rest of the way to 99. That pretty much sums up the skilling progress on this account. These are the pets that I've gotten along the way, and as you can see, we are very close to maxing. Just a couple of quick honorable mentions. I do have the Diary Cape, and I'll just go ahead and show the Champ's Cape in game now since I showed it in the blender scene. The reason I'm kind of awkwardly zoomed in right now is because I'm trying not to show my gear. That's actually what we're moving on to next. So I only started recording my gameplay not too long ago. Some of these items that I have are way far back, but luckily I do have screenshots of everything. Initially I was just going to do some big slideshow for you, but I figured I can do better than that. Now this montage has a lot in it, so I recommend you focus on the blender the first time, and then maybe watch it back to get a closer look at the screenshots. I'm just sitting here right now smiling like an idiot. I've been so excited for so long to share this. I've been working on it for a while, so I'm really glad that it's finally come to fruition. Here we are in the POH once again. This is the inventory here that you saw at the end of the montage. I'm not going to really go over that again because I covered all the screenshots there. I'm just going to briefly say that the stuff at the bottom of the inventory, that's stuff that I've gotten along the way. I've held on to it for a while because it's going to end up in stash units. And yeah, I think if you take a good look at that, you can probably figure out what's going to be happening next. If you guessed Bandos, you are right, but not quite yet. I could do it with the gear I have now, but I'm gonna need the Bofa and Crystal Armor for Inferno anyways, so I might as well just go do Corrupted Gauntlet now. With the Bofa and Rigor in hand, the God Wars dungeon grind begins. Every drop at Bandos will benefit me in one way or another, whether it's an upgrade or filling out a stash unit. At Sarah on the other hand, I really want the God Sword, and I'll probably need a lot of shards. I do have some experience with the Inferno, although all my Triple Jads and Zuck experience has been in leagues, and we all know how much that's worth. Really though, with Bofa, Rigor, and SGS for milking, I don't think I'm going to have too much trouble with this, but there's probably a good chance I end up eating those words. After the Inferno, full steam ahead on skilling. I'm going to prioritize construction here because of the utility of the cape. The plank sack is an essential item for this grind, especially for U.I.M, but that means locking down an inventory slot. The only other place that the plank sack is very significant is the Hallowed Sepulchre, so it would be silly to not go straight there after construction. During this grind, I'll be looking to get enough marks for the Dark Acorn, as well as stacking Sandview Serums, and maybe even the Strange Old Lockpicks. As I mentioned previously, I am a little salty that this came out just a few months after I finished my 1000th Volcano. That definitely would have been the most convenient way to do this content as a U.I.M. Thankfully though, other Ultimate Ironmen more clever than myself have paved the way and found methods to be able to do it. Easily the part of maxing I'm looking forward to the most. With decent Slaughter Bracelet RNG, I think I can just get 99 Slayer with what I have here. Herbs from Hydra's drop table combined with the herbs I have should be 99 Herblore. It does mean thousands of Giant Mole though. I'll be using the Sinister Offering spell on Hydra Bones as I get them, and the Dragon Bones that it drops will just be used at the Wildy altar. If that doesn't do it, back to Abbey Demons. Despite being a meme that this is going to be my last 99, realistically it's actually kind of strategic. The Bandos and Herblore grinds will be clearing up 12 inventory slots. That is a lot of extra logs per trip for this grind. If I were to use a death storage and lose everything to a Wintertod DC, oh my goodness. So now you're all clued in to what the progress has been to this point and what we intend to do to go for the Infernal Max. Not to get ahead of myself, but if you are wondering what my plans are post-max, just take a look at the intro. I included all of that there. Even just making this episode has been such a blast so far. I do have a lot more Blender montages that I'm really excited to make for this series, but in future episodes you'll be seeing a lot more on the gameplay side. You're probably aware I'm a super new content creator, so if you did love this content as much as I loved making it, consider subscribing so you can keep up with my series whether the algorithm picks it up or not. Not to mention I'd really appreciate it. I'm really bad at ending a YouTube video, it's my first time. I'll catch you guys in the next one where we'll be heading into the Corrupted Gauntlet.